Second.
Which is before the sanctions are lifted. So you have the snapback capacity as a result of their not doing it.
Understood.
Or living by it.
Understood. In December of 2011, the President signed into law the NDAA that included sanctions on Iran's central bank. These sanctions penalized foreign financial institutions that were doing business with Iran's central bank. These sanctions will ultimately be suspended because of the JCPOA. What I'm trying to understand, and this keys off a question that was asked by Senator Cardin and others, according to the agreement, the U.S. administration, acting consistent with the respective roles of the President and the Congress, will refrain from reintroducing or reimposing the sanctions specified in Annex 2 that it has ceased applying under the JPOA without prejudice to the dispute resolution process. This is what I think a lot of us are having a hard time reconciling here. What would constitute reintroducing, reimposing sanctions specified, existing sanctions? If, because Iran didn't violate the nuclear part of the agreement, but for other reasons committed terrorism abroad, abducted Americans, and we wanted to penalize them, we wanted to sanction them, could we impose sanctions on Iran's central bank? Because that would mimic or be similar to what was done before, but it would be in a different context. Would that be allowed, or would that lead to some violation on our part of the agreement? Secretary Liu.
I'm going to take a stab at this because we've been going around on it, and I want to try to, if I can, answer it dispositively. First of all, we will not violate the JCPOA if we use our authorities to impose sanctions on Iran for terrorism, human rights, missiles, or any other non-nuclear reason. And the JCPOA does not provide Iran any relief from U.S. sanctions under any of those authorities or other authorities, mind you, and I'll go through some of those other authorities. What we have committed to do is quite specific. Iran was fearful that, having witnessed the hot desire within the Congress for more sanctions, that even if we cut an agreement, you folks might just turn around the day after and say, too bad, we're coming back with all the same sanctions. And then the President's in veto status or override status or whatever. So what they really wanted was a clarity that we're not going to reimpose the specific nuclear-related sanction provisions as specified in Annex 2 to the JCPOA, contingent on them abiding by the commitments of the agreement. So it's really simply a clarification to them that we're not going to come back and just slap them on again. But that absolutely does not mean we are precluded from sanctioning Iranian actors, sectors, or any actions if circumstances warrant. So all of our other sanctions authorities remain in place. They're unaffected by this agreement. And Iran only said, if you read what it says, that they would treat the imposition of new nuclear-related sanctions as the grounds to cease performing. But they are clear, and we are clear, that we have all other kinds of authorities. And let me be specific on that because it's important for this whole debate to be clear. Even with the lifting of sanctions after 8 years on missiles or 5 years on arms or the UN sanctions, it's only the UN sanctions. We still have sanctions. Our primary embargo is still in place. We are still sanctioning them. And I might add, for those things that we want to deal with in terms of their behavior, for instance, Hezbollah, there is a UN resolution, 1701, that prevents the transfer of any weapons to Hezbollah. That will continue. And what we need to do is make sure we're enforcing it.
I think we've got that.